Welcome to Explore York Libraries and Archives. This film has been created by community groups in York to help you identify, manage and use your community archive. In this video, we're going to look at the different risks to your archives, shelving and packaging options, different storage solutions, and how you can deposit your archives here with us at Explore York Libraries and Archives. Where you store your community archives can be a real challenge to everybody. So there are lots of different things you need to think about when thinking about managing your community archive. We don't suggest that you spend millions on trying to convert a space, and we know that that funding simply won't be available to you. So really do think about the risks that your archives are put at when thinking about managing them. So first of all, what do you think are the main risks to your archives?
The environment they're stored in?
Yes, for long-term preservation, archives need to be kept within certain temperature and relative humidity ranges. It's unlikely that you're going to be able to afford to have a space that is completely temperature controlled. So make sure you try and keep your space as clean and dry as possible. It's okay if you have a space that the temperature fluctuates seasonally, so in winter it gets a lot colder and then in summer it becomes gradually warmer. If that change is gradual throughout the year, that's okay. If the temperature changes very, very quickly between the lower and higher temperatures, then you may end up with a space that becomes too humid and that will cause mold to grow, or a space that becomes too dry and that will cause paper to become brittle. What other risks do you think your archives could face?
Fire?
Yes. Archives are made of paper, so automatically fire is a huge risk for archives. So you need to make sure that you know exactly what fire protection your space has. Do you have fire doors? Is there fireproofing in the walls? Also, think about, is there fire detection systems? If it's a shared use building, who has responsibility for that right the way across your space?
What about a kitchen or a workshop nearby?
Yes, those spaces automatically are at higher risk of fire.
A portable heater might catch fire.
Yes, a portable heater is a very high risk, so try not to have these in your space.
Flood?
York is a city that's prone to flooding, so please be aware of this when you're creating your space. So try to avoid using basements. A first floor is ideal. With a first floor space, please be aware that actually you may need to strengthen the floor, as archives can weigh a lot, so please seek professional advice when doing this. The main cause of water getting into a building is through poor maintenance of drains and guttering, so make sure you have a maintenance contract and someone who's responsible for that. If water gets into your building, you may end up with mould growth, and that can cause irreversible damage to your archive collections, so you really need to make sure that you have control of these systems.
Things sometimes go missing, don't they?
Archives can go missing, and that can usually just be through use within your own organisation. So make sure you have the right systems in place to make sure people are logging items in and out when they're being used. Even simple things such as not putting a sign on your door advertising that your space is an archive can just be an extra safeguard to protecting your space. Also, making sure you have things such as locks on the doors will just add that extra level of protection as well. You also need to make sure that everyone is responsible for keeping those archives safe, and make sure that there's at least 2 people who have got access to your archive. But do make sure that not everybody has access, because that will limit the amount of control you have over that collection. Once you've assessed the risks, you then need to think about the shelving and packaging that you use within those spaces. Ideally, you should be using metal shelving that can be secured to the ceiling and the floor. There are other alternatives available as well if you don't have access to those. You can use lockable metal cabinets, providing that they're sturdy enough so they're not likely to topple over. Also make sure that you leave gaps in between your boxes and your shelves to make sure that air can circulate properly, because again, you don't want pockets of humidity to allow mold to develop.
Well, what are they made of?
The best packaging is acid-free. So you can get acid-free boxes, acid-free envelopes and clear wallets for photographs. These packaging materials are provided by specialist suppliers, and they are costly, but it is well worth the investment for some of your more fragile items, especially photographs that can degrade a lot more easily. We do realise though that actually funding is quite a big issue and that you may not have the money to be able to do repackaging using these specialist supplies. We do say that you can use ordinary cardboard boxes, providing that these are sturdy cardboard boxes, they have a lid and they have never been used before for food. Pests love to munch on anything, and if they know that food has been in those boxes before, they will go straight to them. So really make sure that you know what those boxes have been used for and that they are suitable for holding archives. So now it's your chance to try and convert your own community archive. You've got £700 to convert this space into an archive. So, first of all, what's wrong with this space?
It's got bare brick walls. It might be susceptible to damp.
As with the concrete floor.
No shelving.
Dark. Cold.
Dirty. There might be pests that might spoil the archives. It's full of stuff.
So what do you think we could do to create a better space?
I don't see how you could do it for less than £1,000.
Well, you could cover the walls to make them damp-proof.
You could put up metal shelving.
Clean it up and make it pest-proof.
A lick of paint.
Lighting?
Cover the floor with lino or something so that it's not just bare concrete.
Security door.
Temperature control.
This is actually a real life case study of how we worked with a local parish council to create a community archive. So there are lots of ways that you can convert this space. First of all, they put in a waterproof membrane and boarded it with MDF to make sure that the space is now clean and dry. They can't monitor the temperature and humidity, but now at least it doesn't suffer from damp. The shelving, although it's wooden, is slatted, so it does allow for air circulation. So again, it's not ideal, but they have thought about it and taken our advice on board. There are boxes on the shelves for storage. There's lighting, so you can see what you're doing, and they've kept the lockable metal cabinet to store some of their more precious items. As you can see, not all the advice that we gave them, they've been able to implement, but it's a compromise, and that's exactly what creating your community archive is all about. It's about taking advice on board, adapting it to what you can do within your own communities, and creating something that works. And it is also just as important that you maintain a relationship with your local archive service as well, so that if the time comes that you ever do want to deposit your archives, you know that the right people are there to help you. So this community archive, they used local labour, and it cost them just £685. And that was entirely funded by the community, so making this a true community archive. Our top advice is do what you can to minimise the risks, and be aware of what risks your archives face. Remember that creating your own archive is not the only option available to you. You can always think about depositing your archive with a local archive service. Here at Explore York Libraries and Archives, we do accept new community archives into our collections. If you are thinking about depositing your archive with us, do come and speak to us first of all, because we have a collecting policy of anything to do with York and 10 miles surrounding. So it may be that you fall just inside or outside of that remit, but do talk to us first, because we are here to help and support you through this entire process. Remember, if you feel that your archive is of such importance to the identity of your local area, don't let the challenges of storage put you off. It is worth having a go, and it is possible to do it on a tight budget.